Hi, viewers. This is your host, Adnan Ali, with you, with yet another exciting and amazing personality with us. We all agree that sales is a lifeblood for any organization. Today, we have a sales guru with us, Martin Lloyd. Martin has over 25 years' experience in sales, business development, training, and management, working within the UK, Europe, and Middle East for a global leading organization. Martin's views about sales, quote, sales is fun and exciting. It's innovative and resourceful. It's about aspiring and inspiring. Nothing motivates me more than the thrill of seeing a client's success and their win. I relish the opportunity to make a difference to people's lives, and establishing smart sales consulting, that is what I want to bring to my clients. Thank you so much, Martin, for joining us all the way from UK. Thank you so much and welcome to our show.
Thank you for having me, Adnan, and good evening to everybody who joined us on the call.
Thank you so much, Martin. How's the situation in UK in terms of COVID-19? Things are coming back to normal, I guess.
I think if I could summarize the UK, if I dare to, I would say that the United Kingdom has now got its running spikes on, and the retail world all kicks in tomorrow, which is Monday the 15th. So I think there's some anticipation about that, but I think we're ready. So we'll see how the business of the United Kingdom goes as of tomorrow. So I think that's the general mood: is anticipation. Let's get on with it.
Great, great. I hope things will be back to normal again, and people will be, like having their businesses, families going out in the parks and having normal life. So hope for the best. Tell us something about yourself, Martin, in terms of your personal life. How was your childhood, and something people want to know about you, which is not there on your LinkedIn profile, on your website.
Okay, my childhood is from a very good family, good strong family unit. Mum and dad were entrepreneurs. They had their own business selling hats, gloves, and scarves. So they were milliners, I guess would be the name you would call their business. They had a business called Hatmosphere. So that was their business. So
Wow.
I was brought up in that environment. I also have a brother who's 14 months younger than me. He also has his own business as a freight for the UK. So that's our family. What's probably not on my LinkedIn profile is anything about my bodybuilding career. I had a short bodybuilding career back in the late 80s, early 90s. I joined the Association of Natural Bodybuilders, and I ended up winning the Mr. North Wales competition of
Wow.
1991.
Wow,
So
that's
there you
great
go,
to know.
long time ago. Yeah. I also love fishing. I love all elements of fishing, from sports fishing on the sea to fly fishing and everything in between. I'm an avid reader. I also love gardening. And naturally, I have my own family now. I have my own 2 children who keep us very busy.
Great, great. That's good to know about you. And fishing, I guess, is a great sport. So now, like it's not that hectic in terms of like the bodybuilding. You need to kind of you just
Yeah.
sit, relax, and enjoy and
Oh, no, I'm not sure you're totally relaxed, Adnan. The sports sea fishing can get pretty wild.
oh yeah,
Um, back in my Dubai days, on the Persian Gulf, fishing for mahi-mahi,
wow.
and bluefin tuna, yellowfin tuna, what was the other one? Hamor. Were fantastic sports fishing days. They were. There was nothing sit down about it. And of course, with fly fishing, you're constantly looking for the next bend and the next oxygenated water to fish, and so you're kind of hunting more than just sat on the bank.
And sales people are also like hunters, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. There's a synergy there. Yeah.
Yeah, you worked in different parts of the world, UK, Europe, and Middle East. Where do you enjoy it and learn more, and what's the difference you felt in working in different cultures, Madan?
The one place that will always be very key to me in my heart was Dubai, and is still very much in our lives today. Dubai was a fantastic 4-year experience, which is where we met. I absolutely love that. The melting pot of Dubai is just fantastic. To see all those people on a 2-year visa with the potential to extend, all with a very clear goal of why they're there and what they're going to achieve. To be amongst that was absolutely fantastic and a real privilege. So that's something I'll always remember. America, I've worked all over the States. Absolutely love America. Some would argue the place where sales was born. Certainly marketing anyway. So yeah, I absolutely loved America. But the UK is naturally my home. Manchester was the first real city that I attacked, if you will, as a salesperson. And the good folks in Manchester were very accommodating in helping me to my initial sales success. So there would be 3 places I think that would immediately spring to mind.
Well, great to know that. Matt, a number of people dream it daily to start their own business, but they don't leave their jobs. What stops them to leave their cubicle life?
Cubicle life. Well, I think it's fear, and I think the short answer to your question is fear. I think there's a fear which is totally understandable in cutting the rope, as they say, burning the boat. From your employer, because you get used to that income every month of whatever that be, and that becomes your manageable number. That's your income, and then you manage your outgoings accordingly, and within no time at all you've got used to a certain habit, a certain way of life that accommodates, and changing that is scary. And the thought of going alone to do that is not something to be entered into lightly. But I think the short answer to your question is at the heart of it is fear.
Absolutely. When and how did you realize to leave the charming corporate world and started your own sales consultancy and coaching business?
I realized, really, it's a great question, this is, and I've thought about it significantly over the time since you sent the question. I think I realized when I'd spent time with numerous salespeople within the corporate world that I was working, and managers of the corporate world I was working as well, and they all gave feedback, to really say that we've never had training like this anywhere else that we've worked before. We've never seen anything like this. The companies I worked before, never spent this sort of time, never had this sort of training, certainly not this level of coaching. And that gets the old cogs going, and you think, well, really, why couldn't I start a business doing this for other businesses? And that was really the brainchild of it. And it was just, as I've alluded to earlier, having the courage to see that through. And almost 5 years on, here we are.
Wow, that's great. That's great. Could you please enlighten us more about training, coaching, and consultancy? What do you prefer most and why?
Wow. Training I love because that's your initial principles. That's the exciting bit. This is new, it's different. Here are the models, here is the principle of it, here's the workbook, here's the attractive looking diagrams, all very, very new and interesting. So, what is there not to like about that? But it tends to be over within a couple of days, 3 at the outside, there's your training. So I enjoy that, but that's the first sort of blowing the doors off, if you like. The coaching is where the real magic happens, because that's the pull language of pulling through all of those principles and models and guidelines through to the people that you've been training. And seeing the difference in their results and numbers is so inspiring. I find that so inspiring. Watching people go from 7 sales in a year to 360 sales in a year. These are some of the numbers that we've seen. So the coaching is where the magic happens. So seeing that is awesome. Consulting is slightly different. I sort of put that in a slightly different box, because consulting can mean business strategy, go-to-market strategy, recruitment, profiling, SEO campaigns, PPC campaigns. There can be so much involved in that. So consultancy I tend to put in a different box. It's a little bit more serious, but training and coaching is incredibly enjoyable. But out of all of them, I think coaching is where the real result is.
Great, and I'm a real example of that training from you as well when we were doing the sales, and yes, that magic happened because of your training and your guidance.
Thank
Martin,
you, Adnan.
how important is it training for the success of any organization?
I think it's vital, absolutely vital. Your biggest investment as a business, even today, post COVID-19, is your people. That's your biggest investment. So why wouldn't you train your biggest investment? So it's absolutely crucial to any organization to train your people. It sends the message that you care about them, that you're fostering them, that you're honoring what you originally said in your advertisement to hire people in the first place. And they'll give it back to you in spades because they are being trained. It's a virtuous circle. So you train me and I'll deliver for you. So I think it's a fantastic message from any business to do. So short answer, it's vital.
Great, great. And you're a sales guru, yeah? You've trained so many salespeople and you've mentored so many. Who is your mentor?
Who was my mentor? Well, I do have a business coach who will remain nameless. She doesn't want to be named. But I do have a business coach who helps me to augment my language and make sure that I'm on point with what's modern and politically correct. You know, there's certainly, yeah, that is an ever-moving, what would you call it? And I suppose really the way we consult and the way we talk as consultants is ever changing because of the ever changing environment that we're in. So we do need business coaches. So I do have a business coach. In terms of my mentors, I tend to look out beyond the business world, not just the Warren Buffetts of this world. I'm also interested in sports stars. I'm also interested in people who've overcome adversity, people who've been born with a disability and have overcome that challenge. I find those people indirectly fantastic mentors to reach out to. So a couple of examples, if I may, would be Captain Thomas Moore recently, former British Army officer, raised money for the NHS during COVID-19. He raised over £32 million, this chap.
Wow.
Just in the run-up to his 100th birthday.
Amazing.
By walking around his back garden with a Zimmer frame.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't find that inspiring, it's incredible. So I find these people mentors. You know, you can find mentors everywhere.
Absolutely.
Just keep your eyes and your ears open.
Absolutely, you're true. I mean, you can find mentors anywhere. Even a small child can be your mentor because the way you see him living in the moment, even if they're fighting with each other, but they're forgetting the fight and they're just starting all over again. And they, whatever they need, they take it, come what may. So yes, mentors are not only, you know, like those mentors that we consider. It can be anyone in your life that can be a mentor. You're busy as a salesperson, you as a sales trainer, and that's part of learning and development phase. And learning and development, obviously you need to have lots of books that you need read, and lots of books that inspire you. And what kind of books that you read personally, and if you want to recommend any book to our audience?
Okay, well, Miller Heinemann have a fantastic range of books. Strategic Selling, just to get into the specifics of selling, is a fantastic book. It's written by a salesperson for a salesperson about selling, and it was originally written, I think, in '89. Forgive me, but it was sometime around that. That is a fantastic read. It's a chewy read. It's one that you need to put down and keep picking up. But Strategic Selling is a fabulous book, and has really stood the test of time. So I'd recommend that. There are also, you know, books that you can just sort of pick up and put down. The Magic of Thinking Big is a great book. Who Moved My Cheese? That's a book about change and how to understand change. That's another great book. So there are many help books out there that you can choose, but they would be three that spring to mind for me that made a difference.
Great, great. Madan, I remember when you interviewed me, there was one question that you asked that sell me this thing, like sell me this pen. So mostly people, they come up with different scenarios and all that. They just say that, okay, this is what it's right and this is what its price is. But there's one thing which I learned from you was the capability statement of any organization. Can you please elaborate on that for our audience?
Sure. Well, the simple criteria of a capability statement is it's a 30-second advertisement as to who you are, what you do, and why it's important. That's what a capability statement is. So if somebody says to you, "What do you do, Adnan?" you can answer within 30 seconds as to who you are, what you do, and why it's important.
Wow, wow, that's brilliant. So, for example, let's say like if I'm selling this pen, how we can make a capability statement for this? Um,
Well, the first thing is you need to position the pen company. So,
okay.
are you the leading brand? If not, then are you the largest brand? Where do you stand in the market? So, our business is too, and you need the rest of that sentence filling in for your pen company, whatever that be.
Okay.
So that says who you are. And then it's what you do. So what is it that you actually do with this pen? So how are you helping businesses with this pen? Are you helping to write more business with your pen? There needs to be something powerful in that statement. And then why it's of interest to people. So that may mean that you have an offer at the moment on it, or that it lasts longer than any other pen on the market. Or there's a free delivery on that pen. There needs to be something as a hook that tells people what makes that pen different. And that's challenging, and you're asking me there on the spot, and it's not an easy thing to answer, but it is something that you have got to answer.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Because if you don't, and you're the person selling it, you don't really believe in it. And then when people say, "So what?" you've not really got an answer to it. That's where you get stuck. Absolutely. So this is an exercise that we recommend that all businesses do in developing that capability statement.
Great, great. Martin, how technological advancements is changing the sales profession?
Wow, where do you start with that? Well, obviously we've been digitized over the last 15 to 20 years. And some would say that's all been a fantastic preparation towards this epidemic that we're in now. So the internet, developing an easy navigatable website, SEO, making sure that your website is set out properly, pay-per-click campaigning, Google Analytics, measuring the clicks, the fingerprint technology behind that click, which pages have people been on, dwell time, bounce rates, email campaigns is all new. It's all still so new to many businesses. There's an interesting statistic I read the other day, Adnan, is that 40% of the UK's businesses still don't have a website.
Wow.
I found that an amazing statistic. So it is all still relatively new. And I think an awful lot of businesses are still endeavoring to catch up with the technological advancement that business has been through. Added to that, you've got CRM, which helps salespeople and account managers, client care associates to keep on top of their pipelines, their customers, their spend, their last 3 invoice amounts, the retention, attrition of their accounts. So yeah, technological advancement has happened enormously. And I think businesses, generally speaking, are still running to catch up with it.
Great, great. I believe sales is a very stressful job. I mean, what's your advice to the sales professional on stress management?
I think the first thing for an awful lot of salespeople is what we've alluded to earlier, is to truly understand what you're selling. Why would somebody buy it? Why would somebody buy that pen? In your example earlier, why would somebody buy it? What are the features of it? And what are the true benefits of it? And I think an awful lot of salespeople don't truly sit down and have a good think about that. So I think that's first and foremost. I think once you've got that right in your head, you can then start asking the right questions and listening to the answers and confirming back to people what they've said, to then be able to be put in a very powerful position to provide your statement, to provide your product or service that fits those benefits. And that releases pressure, because you start thinking, well, I would buy this product. This product now makes sense to me. I would buy it. So if I would buy it, then I can now transfer my enthusiasm of it to somebody else. So am I worried about sales targets now? Is this a stressful job anymore? Not really, because it makes logical sense.
Yeah.
That's something that we urge our sales associates that we work with to do as soon as we're in.
Sure, sure. Great. That's a great attitude towards the sales profession. I've seen sales manager. They are only meeting their teams in their sales meeting, and all they're asking is about targets and targets. There's no other communication apart from asking them what you have done and how much you have achieved. So, is there any other effective way to manage a sales team?
Yeah, well, you're right, and I've seen so much of that. I'm the sales manager now, so what I do is I spout on about KPIs and targets every day. That isn't the job of sales management. Sales management, you need to be the uncle, the aunt, the long lost brother, the sister, the agony uncle, the agony aunt of that salesperson. They are going to be your life. So as a sales manager, you need to understand every single person in your sales team. You need to understand how they communicate. Some will prefer WhatsApp, text messaging, LinkedIn messaging, voicemail. They may just prefer a phone call in the morning, but not in the evening, or one in the morning and one in the evening. It depends on the salesperson. But a really good sales manager needs to understand their salespeople thoroughly. They need to know everything about them within the confines of business. And it's not just spouting out KPIs and targets, because that's the first way you lose your sales team. Because salespeople know their targets. They know what they need to do every day. A good sales manager truly understands their team.
No, that's amazing. I wish sales managers that listening to this interview right now, and like they truly understand what their job is. Um, Martin, is COVID-19 being a good excuse not to hit your target? And what is your perception of post-COVID world?
Wow. Well, it's certainly an excuse that some salespeople will use. Yes, I don't think for a minute they won't. I've not hit target this quarter, boss, because of COVID-19. I can already hear it now. So yes, is that going to be an excuse? Certainly. Is it a valid excuse? I do think there's some validity to it, because for a lot of businesses, they typically run 3 months of cash flow on their P&L. And this has been running for 3 months. So there's an awful lot of businesses who don't know whether they're going to be in business anymore. So buying new products and services is a challenge. So, there is some validity to that excuse. I think what salespeople must do right now is build that pipeline. If you're not getting decisions because of COVID-19, you've got to put the activity in and the effort in to get the right contacts and build that pipeline ready for Q3, which is in 2 weeks' time. So I think, augmenting conversations with CEOs, CFOs, COOs is going to be easier now than it's ever been. And we've learned that via some of our clients. They're now talking to key stakeholders in businesses who they'd never have been talking to before. So some of these very high-ranked associates are now talking to salespeople, because they want to understand what the feeling is out there. what services are available, what new ideas have been created. So yes, it's an excuse, Adnan. Really though, we need to put a foot down, ready for Q3.
But yeah, you spotted on very rightly that this is the right time when you will find the people available. They don't have excuse that yes, I'm traveling and I'm not available and all these kind of stuff. So that's great. What training method is most effective for new sales reps, in your opinion?
I think for new salespeople, you mean new salespeople entering into sales for the first time?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think for us, the number one seller for us is sales process training, and I've not really seen anything to tell me any differently than that. All new associates need the track; they need the runway to launch off. So sales process is key. And if you're interviewing any businesses, Adnan, coming up, one of the great questions you can ask is, what is your sales process? And many business leaders don't appear to have an answer to that. I just give salespeople a business card and off they go, and hopefully they'll sell stuff.
Yeah.
Of course, there's a lot more to it than that. So for us, first and foremost, it's developing and building a sales process. And once we've got that and everybody understands it, and there's lots of checking along the way, once everybody's on the bus, so to speak, then we can take the handbrake off and away we go.
Great, great. Maran, I believe motivation is a very key for any kind of job, and sales needs, like like double or triple motivation as compared to the other staff of your organization. So, how an organization can motivate a sales rep?
Wow. Well, there are so many things you can do to help to motivate. I don't think it's an isolated word, motivation. You can only help towards somebody's motivation. At the end of the day, it is down to each and every associate to be motivated to do what they need to do. But I think to help with motivation, businesses can create holiday incentives, which I know that we did with you, Adnan, back in the day. So holiday incentives are a good one. Little gimmies along the way, it can be small things sometimes. It can be a night out with all of your associates. It can be an evening with all your associates and their partners. It can be Ferrari Land, which I know we did back in the day. It can be all of the theme parks and attractions and ideas that you've got. But I think first and foremost, the root of it is recognition.
Yeah,
it's recognizing people, and if you recognize their efforts, that will motivate them. That helps towards motivation, and all people need recognition.
absolutely. Even just kind of encouragement and just a small word can make lots of difference in salespeople's life.
Absolutely,
When
absolutely.
when you were a sales rep, what was your key element of success, Martin?
I think the first element for me was that I am quite a disciplined individual. The bodybuilding time, the way I approach fishing, there is a process to it. There is a discipline to it. Bodybuilding, for example, you're eating 6 meals every day, whether you're hungry or not. You need to eat 6 meals a day. You need to work out every single day. That's process. So I simply took that and translated it over to the business world in sales and said, right, okay, it's 100 phone calls a day or whatever the number was then. And it's not less than that, and it doesn't need to be any more than that, but it does need to be 100 phone calls a day. Not 98, not 104, but 100. And I was very, very keen on that. That was my first bit. Like, I've got to put the effort in first. I've got to understand the results of that work. Then I can work on the skill. So you may have heard this before, Adnan, but will and skill typically are the two main functions of salespeople. Do they have the will, and do they have the skill? If they have both, they'll be really successful. If they have the will, but not the skill, we can help with that. If they don't have the will or the skill, then it may be a very different conversation.
True, true, very, very true. I believe there are so many techniques for sales. There's one which companies use is called consultative selling technique or approach. What's your opinion on that? On how do you think that that works for the companies?
I think being consultative in your sales arsenal today is vital, because what you're attempting to do when you're being consultative is that you are understanding. You've got to understand people. Seek first to understand, to be understood.
Yeah.
And that's from Stephen Covey, which is another great book, by the way. The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People is another great book to add to that list, Adnan. But Steve, what Stephen's talking about there is that if you're not seeking to understand first, and to do that you need to ask thought-provoking questions, listen, confirm understanding, and from that you will naturally build rapport before you need to be understood. So for you and I in consultation, we need to ask questions, we need to understand people, we need to listen, we need to demonstrate we've listened, by saying things like, so if I understand you correctly, what you're saying is, if I hear you right, you seem somewhat perplexed about that. Is that something that you'd want to fix for the future? Comments like that tell the prospect that you're interested in them, that you're actually listening. So that's what we mean when we say consulting, is really to seek to understand. It's all about them, and it's 2 ears and 1 mouth, and you use them in that order.
Absolutely, absolutely. And one of the basic technique is cold calling. So is still cold calling working in the current environment?
Well, obviously, you can't really walk around buildings in the UK at the moment, or indeed any of Europe, to cold call businesses, because there's nobody there. But pre-COVID-19, and I'm sure post-COVID-19, it'll be measured, and we need to apply social distancing measures and hygiene measures naturally. But yes, cold calling is really important, because you're getting pure, fresh data. As far as the European world's concerned, the level of attrition in businesses today, where the managers have left, new people are in, old people are out, no matter where your data's from, typically that's not going to keep up with that level of pace. So yes, cold calling is still prevalent today.
Great, great. And one more thing, Martin, you mentioned rightly that cold calling is very valid, because you get the fresh data, and you're not relying on just the old data and all that. But if a company doesn't have any budget for, like SEO, or they don't have any sales CRM system, how they can generate the sales?
Well, that comes back to the salespeople. So presuming they have a sales engine, they've got to put the time into that sales team. So if you haven't got the funds at the moment to further invest in other avenues, then you've got to invest your time into that salesperson. And that can be with coaching and with training and spending time shadowing them to help them to get those decisions over the line. And the more decisions you're getting over the line positively, that affects your P&L positively, and then you can start looking at building on SEO campaigns, PPC, and better work on your website, etc., etc.
Great, great. Thank you so much for that. How do you define success and happiness, Martin?
Success and happiness. Well, success, as a friend of mine, Richard, who quoted to me, and I've not heard one any better, the definition of success is where opportunity and preparedness meet.
Wow.
Pretty simple. Nothing else to add to that one. In terms of happiness, Adnan, it's a subjective term. I think it's different for everybody. Some people are happy with money, in the pursuit of money, and some people aren't. For me, what makes me happy is seeing my children grow and develop. That is so rewarding and fantastic. It's challenging, but it's also fantastically rewarding. So I get a great deal of happiness from seeing my children grow.
Right. And how important is money to you?
Money is important, but I think, again, another old friend of mine, always surround yourself with good people. But a good friend of mine used to say that if you only do something for the money only, it's probably wrong. And I think that's a very good quote. So money is important, but for me, it's typically secondary. First and foremost, I've got to want to do whatever the project is. I've got to like the business that we're working with. They're demonstrating good leadership qualities. They've got strong integrity as a company. They care about their people. Then if all of those are in ticks, in boxes, then we'll start talking about what we can do and how we can help. And then the money comes afterwards. It's secondary.
Great, great. I think we had a very great conversation, and we can keep on talking on this, and we can get the wisdom from you on sales and all that. But if someone wants to get in touch with you, how they can do that, Martin?
The easiest way is our website, which is www.smartsalesconsulting.co.uk, and you can find us on there through the inquiries page. So, through the contact us page, inquire there. I'm also on LinkedIn, and I'm an active member on there. So they would be the two easiest ways to find us.
Great. We've learned a lot in today's session. We've learned about how Martin has started his own business, what is consultative selling, what is cold calling, what is the best approach to train your salespeople, how a sales manager can motivate their team, what is capability statement, and all those technological advancement that are happening in the sales profession, and how post COVID-19 sales profession can change, and how businesses can change, and how salespeople can manage their pipeline, and how can they, like, keep themselves busy during these time to build their pipeline, rather than just making an excuse of not doing their activities. So there are lots of learning, and we've learned a lot. Thank you so much for Martin for your time. And before we sign off, any words, any message that you want to share with our audience today?
I think, well, particularly for the whole world at the moment, really, is that we're about to all reopen our doors and reopen our countries and reopen our businesses. And I think we should do that carefully and safely and follow the advice from the government. Much as it pains us, it is there to save lives. That is what we're endeavouring to do. And if we can balance that and still have a fruitful economy, then I think we've all been really successful in managing this enormous amount of change. And I think we'll look back at this time and say that that was really quite a landmark time for all of us, in enveloping change and moving forward. So stay safe, I think, in short, is my message as we reopen the doors as of tomorrow morning.
Great. Thank you so much, Martin, for your time. I appreciate, loved your presence, loved your wisdom. And I'm always a big fan of your wisdom and your technique, and the kind of proactive attitude that you have towards life. God bless you. Stay safe, and we'll be in touch as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Adnan.
Thank you so much, Martin. Thank you so much, viewers, as well, for your time. And we'll be back with another exciting and amazing personality. I hope we learned a lot today. And even if we apply a one part of this in our daily life, in our businesses, definitely it can help us in tremendous ways. Keep yourself safe. Keep everyone safe around you. Take care of good yourself. God bless you. Take care.